Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm sorry that I've been gone so long. Yes, I did have COVID. I was sick for one day. One day. That's all I was sick for. And it's been months of trying to get my energy back. I'm okay in the morning, but I do work in the morning. I run a gravel business. I'm also a safety auditor, so I'm very busy during the day. I usually work on my jewelry in the evening time, and right about 3 o'clock, energy levels would be absolutely and totally gone. And because my energy has been so low over the last couple months, so has my creative brain. For the creative brain to function, you need a lot of energy. I did try to do an April's Bargain Bead Box video, but I was feeling so low and just so unimaginably tired. When I tried to sit down to actually do the video, I just didn't have it in me to actually put it together. So it is actually sitting in parts on my computer. So if you guys want to see that one, I will put it together for you. Not a problem. Today we're going to be doing May's Bargain Bead Box. I'm going to show you everything that I made with that beautiful box. I'm really happy to be back and designing again. It is still going to be a slow process. Energy levels are still down farther than what they normally are, but I am getting better every day. Go outside, try to get the fresh air, take vitamins, drink lots of water, and my body is slowly coming back. Without further ado, let's get to this video. Start with the first piece. Now this is the first main piece that I made with this box. This is actually one of my absolute favorite pieces that I made with this whole box. All of the pieces are beautiful, but this one here, ooh, it just grabs me like I want to make another one just for myself. So I started with 9 of the 10mm pink quartz. That's number 15 on your list. And what I did was I took my 11/0 seed beads and I started weaving around this way. Now this way, when I came around on the top, I added the 11/0 seed beads. When I came around the bottom, I added seed beads and the 4mm cat's eye bicone beads. And I went like this, basically like a figure 8. And then when I came back around, I went back the opposite way and then added the 4mm bicones on the top, and then just kept going through to basically make this main piece right here. So with the 10mm and the 4mm bicones, so it kind of sat straight. What I did was I came back this way and just started adding my 8mm violet quartz, came back up like this, came back up this direction with my 11/0 seed beads, back down, added another 8mm quartz, and went across like that. Then went back around here and started adding my chip beads. The 8mm violet quartz is number 1 on your list. I don't know if I mentioned the 4mm bicones, but they are number 13 on your list. And then just went back through with my needle and thread and just added the chip beads and put, between each chip bead, I put 11/0 seed beads and then went through the quartz, the 8mm quartz, and did that all the way till I got to the middle here. And then I added this 34 by 9mm carved gold quartz leaf pendant. This is number 4 on your list, and this is absolutely stunning. It just brings the whole piece together. Once I had this initial piece all done, I tied it off, and then I got 2 pieces of 20 gauge antique copper wire. I think that was about a 5 to 6 inch piece. So I added this section of beads here. So these are the 6mm spiral faceted crystal coin beads. Number 5 is in light lilac and number 6 is in the lavender. And then of course the 4mm bicone beads. And then squared it off and then added the same section of beads here as I did here. And then what I did was I just attached it to where my 11/0 seed beads are and then just twirled the wire to just make, you know, a little fancy embellishment to bring a little more beauty to the piece. So after I had that done and realized, because I will put these pieces on as I'm making them, and I found there was a problem with this piece. these beads here with this section here, it wanted to fold in on itself. Now it's not heavy to wear, but it did fold in on itself, and I was having a real problem because I thought, oh, this is not sitting right. And if you're gonna make a piece like this, you're not gonna want it to be folded in. You're gonna want it to sit on its own. I had thought about using memory wire, but I didn't really want to use the memory wire because if it showed in the front here, it wasn't gonna match with the findings and the antique copper, you know, the antique copper that they were going with. I used the 20 gauge antique copper wire again. What I did was I cut off a 6-inch piece. I bent the one side and twirled it around on this side of the pendant. Then I bent the wire behind here, bent it with a pair of pliers, pulled it through this side, and then did a couple of twirlies on that side. And what that did was just fix the whole way that it sits when you wear it. You want it to be flat on your chest when you wear it. You don't want it to be folded over, and you don't want to be fighting with it. So doing that just helped the whole piece sit flat and beautiful. When you're wearing it, it sits gorgeous, as you can see. And then to just make sure everything was stable, I took some thread, went through these beads, and just attached a little bit of thread to the back so that it would sit perfectly and pretty much be hidden. The only pieces that I wanted to be shown were these little twirlies on the front here. Now for attaching this, I know this looks a little strange, but I fell in love with these. I'm going to do this a lot more with some of my more pieces that I do make. I had half round antique copper wire, and I have a lot of it sitting here waiting for me to use, and I'm thinking, what could I do to make this look different? What I did was started wrapping it around this wire that holds these beads together, and on the top I held it with these pliers right here. So I held it there and I just kept going around, pulling it through here, going around, keeping it very even and tight. And I don't know how many times I went around. It looks like it ran around maybe 20 times. And I just think that brings a really unusual and really nice addition to this whole piece. And I just think it brings a very unique touch to this piece. I mean, this piece is very big, it's very bulky. So these just, I don't know. I'm definitely going to do more of this type of thing with some of my pieces. I fell in love with that. Because this attachment that I had made here was so big, I used my great big antique copper jump rings. I don't even know how big these are. I would say they're probably 12mm size jump rings, and they're 18 to 16 gauge wire. They're very, very big. I would take a measurement for you, but the hubby took my measuring ruler and I really need to get that back from him. Yeah, definitely. And then to tie it all off, I used my 5x12mm steel Lumachina chain. This is number 2 on your list. I absolutely love this chain. I'm gonna go back and get some more. I find it so fun to work with. It's beautiful to wear. It's sturdy. And it looks great on any piece that you make. It's just a lovely chain. And to finish it all off, I use the 20x17mm figural flower toggle clasps. For this piece, I'm just going to go over the pendant and what I did here for the pendant, and then I will show you the rest of it, because actually it's quite long and doesn't fit the whole thing in the screen, so we're just going to do that first. For this pendant here, this is a detachable pendant. And the toggle clasp comes in really handy for that. So you can wear it with the big long pendant, or you can wear it just like this, which I think looks really pretty either way. And I used the 41x29mm filigree flower focal link to make the longer pendant part with part of the toggle clasp, and then one of the 10mm pink quartz beads. Now I used one of my own head pins because I didn't want to have the round loop hanging off the bottom of this bead, so I just used my own little flat head pin piece in antique copper. Goes with everything else. Sorry, this here is number 7 on your list. This here is number 15 on your list, and the toggle clasps are number 8 on your list. I used one of the 40mm steel eye pins, this is number 3 on your list, to attach this flower link to the toggle clasp. And that way you can take this and put it in here to wear it as a longer pendant, or you can just have the shorter pendant. And of course, this is the other part of the toggle clasp here. I attached the 40mm steel eye pins, 2 of them. I looped it around the top of the toggle clasp. Then I added the 4mm bicone beads, the cat's eye beads, and then 2 of the 6mm spiral faceted crystal beads. These 2 are in lavender. And then I took the other end of the eye pins and then just looped them around one of the 15x5 by 10mm leafy branch links. These are number 9 on your list. The eye pins are number 3 on your list. And then what I did for the chain part, now you have to do each one of these links separately. So I just used thread. I just threaded on the 6mm faceted spiral crystal beads in lavender, number 6 on your list. One of the 9mm 3-leaf bead caps, number 18 on your list. 10mm pink quartz, number 15 on your list. Another 9mm bead cap, and then another faceted bead on the other side of that. And then just attached it to one of the sides of the 15x5 by 10mm leafy branch links. And then repeated that 4 times all the way up, ending with the leafy branch link. So right here at the end. So each one of these links will have to be done separately. And so I did this and then added this to this side of the branch link and then continued on until I had a branch link on either side up here. And then the steel Lumachina chain, number 2 on your list, and another toggle clasp to finish that off. And I'm always one for change, so I really like, you know, to wear something like this. And then there's gonna be days where I'm gonna want, you know, something a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit bolder, unique, whatever it might be. And it's just nice and easy to pop this on here for a totally different look. And it will hold on there. It's not going to fall off. And I think it turned out really pretty. And these colors are absolutely stunning together. If you like pink and purples, you know, with a little pop of green, and I like adding a pop of color. I find that adding just a small pop of a different color just brings real attention to the whole piece. People notice it. At least that's what I've found when I wear pieces like this. People notice it right away. And it looks really pretty, and it goes with the whole theme of summer anyway. So yeah, I think it turned out beautiful. So for my next piece, I wanted to create a little bit of chaos. I've been in the mood for chaos lately because my life has been very chaotic. And I had just had this vision in my head for a couple of weeks after I got the beads. So what I did was I just made lengths of beads. The length of beads just depends on exactly where you want it to sit on your neck. So I was measuring as I was going with the biggest ones just to see where it was going to sit on my neck. I didn't want it to be too long. I like it to be more just below my collarbones. So that's what I did, measuring that way. And then I just started adding strings of the other beads. So I went with the number 1 8mm violet quartz, number 1 on your list, the 6mm spiral faceted crystal coin beads in light lilac and lavender, both number 5 and number 6. On your list, I went with the 6mm yellow jade beads as well, number 16 on your list. And then a piece of the steel Lumachina chain. And I just cut it to the same length as what everything else was, and then attached everything at the top with thread. And then as I went down, I started adding the chevron 3-leaf bead caps with one 11/0 seed bead to hold everything together, and I put it over top one of these 6mm yellow jade. So there's a 6mm yellow jade under each one of those just to get them to sit properly. These bead caps are number 18 on your list. And I don't know if I said, but the 6mm yellow jades are number 16 on your list. And then I added my 41 by 29mm filigree flower focal link. This is the other one. We only had 2 in there. This is number 7 on your list. I went around a couple of times in the back, attaching all the string of beads that I had there, pulling through here once in a while, pulling through here. As you can see, there's an 11/0 seed bead, 11/0 seed bead there, just to attach everything and make sure it sat straight when you wear it. And then another chevron 3-leaf bead cap. And then my 19 by 31mm 3D leafy branch pendant link. Now this pendant link has a link on the top, a loop on the top and a loop in behind here. So I just added it here, weaved my way through, and halfway through grabbed one of these bead links, put 3 11/0 seed beads here, pulled back through there just to hold it into place, and then added some more string, went through the loop at the back here, continued on up here, and then added one more chevron 3-leaf bead cap. I found that without that here, it just looked empty on this side. I didn't want to add too much to this side. I wanted most of my chaos to be like right here. I know that sounds a little weird, but I like chaos in my pieces. And I used a lot of 11/0 seed beads through the 6mm jade beads just to add the rest of the chain and the toggle clasp to finish it off. As you're looking at it here, it doesn't look like a lot. I'm gonna try to put up another photo of it actually sitting up and on one of my stands. It looks beautiful. And if you like chaotic pieces, you like a little bit bigger, bolder pieces, this is really beautiful and very easy to make. So by this point, I'd already run out of the Lumachina chain, so I pulled out some of my own antique copper chain. I have a lot of antique copper chain. I really like antique copper in my jewelry. I love to wear it, that in silver. And so I had a lot, so I thought, okay, I'm just gonna use my own antique copper chain for this particular piece here. And this piece I made specifically to layer with the other ones. So it is actually a bit longer than the other chains that I made, except for the leaf quartz pendant, the really big one that I'd made in the beginning there. It won't fit with this one, but the other ones do fit with it. It's a little bit longer, so it fits perfectly underneath each one of the necklaces that I made before. And all I did was take my thread and just start threading on the beads that you see here. So the 8mm violet quartz, which is number 1 on your list, the 6mm spiral faceted crystal coin beads in light lilac, which is number 5 on your list, the 4mm cat's eye glass bicone beads, these ones here, for a beautiful pop of green, number 13 on your list. I put the 5x15 by 9mm pressed glass leaf beads, and then the 11x13mm wavy leaf spacer beads, because I think I only had 4 left, so I had to kind of fit them in there. And then my 11/0 seed beads in between everything. And then 8 11/0 seed beads at the top to connect the chain with, and then 4mm jump rings to fit into the very small links that I have here. And then at the end of that, I put a magnetic clasp. And this is an antique copper. I believe I got these from Bead FX. I'll leave a link in the description box for you. And then same with the jump rings to attach to that. Now I really like the magnetic clasps from Bead FX. They are super strong. Like, look at that. Super strong. And if you're like me, I like my long nails. It is hard to work with lobster clasps and all that. Toggle clasps aren't bad, but I love magnetic clasps to just be able to put it on. And honestly, this little chain is not going anywhere. These are really good. If you're gonna use magnetic clasps in your pieces, definitely go and find really good ones. I don't normally get them off Amazon at all because I find that they're not very good. A lot of times the magnets have actually fallen out. And if you're making a piece that you are gonna sell, or even for yourself, you don't wanna be losing it because of faulty magnetic clasps. So if you're gonna get one, these ones here, and if you like that type of clasp, definitely go to a beading store or online. Bead FX is good. One really good place to get that type of beautiful clasp. And this one I like because you can layer it up, and you know me, I do like to layer my pieces a lot of times. This is beautiful. I was gonna make it so it was shorter, but I just find with these leaves here, the way they hang down, it just looked more beautiful with this underneath all the pieces, or any piece that you might make. It just adds a really beautiful touch. A touch of spring, a touch of summer. I love the colors. So I decided to make a wire beaded bracelet. Now this is something that you can do even if you don't work with wire. It is so simple to do this. You just take a length of wire. It doesn't matter how long it is. I believe this one, it's 18 gauge antique copper wire. I believe it was about 12 to 15 inches in length. And I just used my bail making pliers to make the loops as even as possible. My bail making pliers look something like this, only they're huge. Basically, all I did was wrap this wire around those great big pliers to make each of these loops as uniform as possible, and then use 28 gauge wire to just start looping beads in and out, again in a chaotic fashion. And I really like the way that it turned out. I used the 4mm bicone beads. I used the 8mm violet quartz, number 1 in your list. I used a 6mm spiral faceted crystal coin beads, number 5 on your list. So that would be these ones here. These are in the light lilac. The 4mm cat's eye glass bicones, these ones here, number 13, and 1, because that's all I had left by this time, 10mm pink quartz, number 15 on your list. For right in the middle of this bracelet, I had 1 left of the 6mm yellow jade, number 16 in your list, so I just popped it in with this bead here. These 9mm 3-leaf chevron bead caps, 1 on each of this bead here, and then the 11 by 13mm wavy leaf spacer beads just in between there. And then just chaotically went all over the place with my wire. I did the initial row here, and then I went back this way with some different beads, and then back this way with what beads I had, and I was just going all over the place with my 28 gauge. And then with the twirlies that I made at the end here, I added some of my own antique copper chain, my jump rings. These are the 4mm antique copper jump rings. And then again, used my other magnetic clasp, which I absolutely love, especially for bracelets too, because if you have long nails, you'll find that it's very difficult to put bracelets on. At least I have a really hard time. And it's so easy to attach. Can't get it. So for my other bracelet, I used the 8mm violet quartz, number 1 on your list, the 4mm cat's eye glass bicone beads, number 13, the 6mm yellow jade, number 16, and the citrine chip beads. So these ones here, and they were number 17. And what I did was I used the 5x12mm steel lumen china chain back here. So I just started sewing beads in as I went. The big beads here, the jade here, and I went all the way down. In between there, I was putting my 11-0 seed beads chaotically everywhere through the piece. And I just started clustering. So I was going back and forth with beads, adding the chip beads. Kitty! And adding the 4mm cat's eye beads. And I found this to be a really nice way to make a cluster bracelet. It's very easy to do, and I love it. And it goes really nice with the other chain if you want to double up on them. And again, for this one as well, I used the magnetic clasp. I just find it so much easier. And I'm going to repeat myself to do this than try to hook it up with a lobster clasp or something like that. Even the toggle clasp I find hard to do the bracelets because of course you only have one hand. I know there's tools out there to actually put your bracelets on, but I just find this to be the easiest way to put my bracelets on, and they do complement each other quite nice. So I have 3 remaining pieces, which are earrings. You can see here that I used the 4mm bicone beads, the cat's eye. In between that, I put 1 each of the 11-0 seed beads of my own. And then I used the 15x9mm pressed glass leaf beads. Put that all together with half round wire and just attached it to my ear wires. And these pretty much will go with any of the pieces that were made here today. And with the lampwork beads, I couldn't really see myself doing anything else with them but earrings. I thought about making pendants with them, but honestly, I think they look just as nice as earrings. These ones here are the 10.5 by 12mm lampwork glass flower beads. These ones are in lavender. I also use a 6mm yellow jade. The lavender lampwork beads are number 11 on your list. And the 6mm yellow jades are 16 on your list. And again, I used my little head pins, flat head pins, so there's nothing showing at the bottom here, and just looped them around the ear wires that I had. Now for this one here, these are the beads that I had left. You could honestly use any one of the beads that you had there. The green would even look really pretty on here if you wanted to do that. The other lampwork flower beads, which are a magenta. And then I used one link of the Luma China chain in each one of these earrings. I used my own head pins again with the flat bottoms so that nothing would be showing underneath here. Looped them around, hooked them to each link. And then the other side, I put my ear wires, and they really do make quite beautiful earrings. They're a little bit shorter, a little bit longer, and again, these pieces go with any of the pieces that were made here today. So just as an added bonus, these are the pieces that I made in April's Bargain Bead Box. Now, when I did that video, I still do have all the footage from that video. I actually wasn't feeling so good when I did it. It's a little vague on what I actually made, but I just wanted to show you a little bit of what I did make. I'm gonna take my bracelets off here. One of my favorites is this bracelet. Now I was thinking about doing a video with this bracelet. I think this is one of my most favorite bracelets I've ever made. It's very beautiful, again, very bulky. Now the reason I'm showing you this is because if you want to see that video, I will put it all together and put it up for you. I'm going to look back on the footage and just make sure that it's not too vague. Like I said, I wasn't feeling well when I decided to film the video for this, but I haven't actually looked at the footage. But if you are interested in seeing what I did with April's Bargain Bead Box, I can definitely do that for you. I was thinking about doing a couple of short videos integrated into some of my future videos for each piece that I made, just so I can stay caught up on my content, but also show you some of the beautiful pieces that were made with that box. I can do that. You guys let me know which would work better for you, and I would be happy to do whatever you guys want. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I would love to know if you guys are going to try any of the designs that I presented here today. I wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you that emailed me wondering if I was all right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you worry, but it was really wonderful to see them all, knowing that there's friends out there that care. Please, all of you, take care of yourselves, and I will see you back here for my next video. Bye.